Welcome to the deep dive. You know, life is this incredible journey, right? Beautiful, amazing, but wow, it goes by fast. And as we look back, there's this one feeling that hits almost everyone: regret. But it's usually not about the crazy stuff we did. It's more often about the silences, the words we didn't say. So what if I told you there's maybe one specific kind of conversation, a last conversation, that haunts people the most?
Oh, it's absolutely true. And this isn't just, sad stories people tell. We hear this consistently from psychologists, therapists, and well, especially from palliative care folks. The people who are right there at the end of life, they see the deep mark left by things unsaid. It's profoundly human.
Right. So that's our mission today on the deep dive. We want to unpack why. Why do we miss these talks? What do they usually sound like? And maybe most importantly, figure out how you can avoid carrying that heavy feeling of what if. Think of this as, I don't know, your guide to maybe finding some emotional freedom. Let's get into it. When someone we care about dies, it's not just that they're gone physically. There's this huge silence, isn't there? And sometimes that silence is just echoing with all the stuff we wish we'd said, or maybe stuff we wish they'd said to us. It's not just missing them, it's missing the connection that could have been, the things left hanging.
That's such a crucial point, that silence isn't empty. Professionals, they hear those echoes constantly. The regrets are so clear. Things like, I just never told him how proud I was, or we never got around to talking about what really mattered. Sometimes it's even simpler, like, I wish I'd asked her about her life, her childhood dreams. And it's not always just about saying, I love you or I forgive you. Those are huge. It's often about losing that chance for a deeper connection, stories that weren't shared, wisdom that just vanished.
It really makes you wonder, why do we put them off? These conversations feel so important, the ones that could lead to healing, but we delay. Why? I think maybe it just comes down to, well, it's uncomfortable, right? We don't like feeling awkward or emotional. And we tell ourselves that dangerous thing, oh, there's always more time. Like tomorrow's a better day for it.
Exactly. That's a classic cognitive trap, actually. It's like optimism bias. We just assume we'll have endless chances, the perfect moment will just show up. And we also misjudge how bad we'll feel later if we don't have the conversation. We underestimate the long-term pain of silence. So yeah, discomfort is part of it, but it's also this deeper avoidance. That we don't want to talk about death, like ignoring it keeps it away. We shy away from deep feelings because, well, vulnerability is scary, being exposed like that. And talking about past mistakes, we worry about opening old wounds, causing more pain.
All right, stirring things up again.
But the real kicker, the irony, is that those very conversations, the scary ones, are the pathway to closure, to real healing and understanding. Without them, that silence you mentioned, it's not just quiet, it's incredibly heavy.
It's like we store up these unsaid things, thinking if we ignore them, they'll just fade away. But they don't, do they? They just get heavier. But that irony you mentioned, why is that so hard to see in the moment? Why don't we act on it?
Well, our immediate emotional reaction, that sort of fight or flight response to discomfort, it often just overrides the rational part of our brain. The brain flags the immediate threat, the awkwardness, the potential conflict much more strongly than the future, more abstract benefit of peace or resolution. It's like a short circuit. The immediate feeling wins out over the long-term wisdom.
That makes sense. We're wired for immediate survival, maybe, not long-term emotional health sometimes. So, okay, we avoid these talks. But you said these regrets are common. Do they actually fall into patterns, despite all our different lives?
It's fascinating, but yes, absolutely. Across cultures, across different types of relationships, professionals see the same core themes emerge again and again. The first big one is, I forgive you.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's incredibly powerful. And psychologically, offering forgiveness, even if the other person isn't there or can't respond, it can change how you remember things. It helps stop that negative loop in your head, that rumination. It literally lightens the load for the person saying it. It lets them start healing that wound.
And I guess the flip side of that coin is the second theme.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Guilt is just such a heavy burden to carry. People carry it for decades. And you often hear people near the end wishing they'd just apologized. Made amends.
Is that usually within families? Or where does that regret pop up most?
Overwhelmingly, yes. Families, parents and children, siblings especially. Sometimes it's over something that seems small from way back when, but because it was never addressed, it just festered. It created this gap. And a genuine, I'm sorry, even years later, can sometimes just mend decades of silence. It frees both people, really.
Wow. Okay, so forgiveness, apology. What's the third one? Probably the one we think of most.
You guessed it. I love you. Just three simple words, but they carry enormous weight. And it's tragic how often they go unsaid, especially in families or relationships where, maybe affection just wasn't expressed openly.
Like it was seen as weakness or something.
Sometimes, yeah, or just not the dumb thing. But imagine the comfort, the peace those words could bring, not just for the person hearing them, but for the person finally saying them.
Definitely. Okay, what's number 4?
Number 4 is more about curiosity, about connection. It's tell me about your life.
Hmm.
We get so wrapped up in the day-to-day, right? We forget to just ask. Our parents, grandparents, mentors, they have such rich histories inside them.
Stories, lessons.
Exactly. Triumphs, failures, wisdom gained the hard way. If we don't make the space to listen, to really hear them, all of that is just lost when they're gone. It's like a whole library burning down, unread.
That's a powerful image. Okay, and the 5th theme.
The 5th one is about presence, about support. It's what do you need from me right now?
Hmm.
This isn't always about big dramatic actions. Sometimes, especially near the end or even just in tough times, it's about showing up, being there.
So not assuming you know what they need.
Precisely. Palliative care often talks about emotional and spiritual needs, not just the physical stuff. This question gets right to that. It asks, how can I support you right here, right now? But we often don't ask it.
Why not? Because we're afraid.
Often, yeah. We're caught up in our own fear, our own grief, our own awkwardness. We forget to tune into their needs in that specific moment. It requires shifting the focus off ourselves.
These themes, they feel so universal, but hearing actual stories really brings it home, doesn't it? The source material had some examples.
It did, and they're quite poignant. Take Grace, 56 years old. She never managed to tell her father she forgave him for leaving the family years ago. He passed away, and she's left carrying that. That silence isn't just quiet. It's filled with this longing for a resolution she can't have now.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. What was she waiting for, you wonder?
Who knows? Maybe the right moment that never came. And then there's Liam. In his 70s, his brother died suddenly. They hadn't spoken for years, he said, over something so stupid. He kept meaning to call but didn't. That something stupid now casts this incredibly long, painful shadow of regret.
And it's not just isolated cases. You mentioned the hospice nurse, Jaya.
Yes, Jaya. Decades of experience. She said it point blank. Almost everyone wishes they had talked more. Wished they'd said what they really felt or asked those deeper questions. These regrets aren't the exception. Heartbreakingly, she says they're the norm. It really underscores how widespread this is.
Okay, wow. So we've definitely felt the weight of that silence, the pain of these regrets. But let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the positive side. The liberation, the payoff, that comes from actually having these difficult conversations. Because it might feel scary, but the reward seems huge.
It really is, and the benefits are tangible. First, you get clarity. No more guessing, no more assumptions. You know where you stand. Then there's closure. Even if the conversation isn't perfect, it allows healing to start. It closes a chapter.
And peace, right? Less of that agonizing what if.
Exactly. Peace. You reduce that mental and even physical stress. Knowing you said what you needed to say, did what you could, it's immense. Or finally, think about legacy. Sharing stories, values, forgiveness, love. You preserve something meaningful. You pass it on.
So, the courage it takes isn't just about facing discomfort. It's about choosing a future with less regret. You mentioned fear before rejection, confrontation, messy emotions. But taking that leap, having that courage, it can change everything.
It really can redefine a relationship. Or even if the relationship doesn't change, it allows you to move forward without being constantly haunted by the unspoken.
It's that choice. Temporary discomfort now, or potentially lifelong regret later.
That's the crux of it.
So if someone's listening right now and a conversation just popped into their head, what do they do? How do you actually start? Does it need to be this big, planned out, dramatic thing?
Not at all. Actually, starting small is often better. The source material had some really gentle, practical openers. Things like, I've been thinking about something I never actually told you. Or maybe, can I ask you something I've always kind of wondered about?
Simple. Less intimidating.
Exactly. Or even, hey, I know this might seem out of the blue, but I just wanted to say. Or if there's old tension. Look, there's something I've wanted to clear the air about for a while. The setting doesn't need to be formal. Coffee, a walk, just a quiet moment. It's about being real, not perfect.
And what about the really hard situation? What if the person isn't here anymore? Is that chance just gone?
Not entirely for your own healing, no. The source suggests writing a letter. Pour it all out. Or even just speaking the words out loud, maybe in a quiet place. It sounds strange, maybe. But the act of expressing it can be incredibly releasing for you.
Mhm.
Healing doesn't always need a response. Sometimes it just needs release.
That's a really important point. It's not just about getting something off your chest, though.
Right. Having these conversations, especially near the end of someone's life, it's fundamentally about being truly present for them. It's an act of love, really. Honoring your shared history, acknowledging the journey you took together.
That reframes it entirely. It's not just selfishly seeking closure and thinking about what people actually want at the end. It's not stuff, is it? It's connection.
Absolutely. They want to know they mattered, that they were understood, that they'll be remembered for who they were, not just their illness.
So showing up emotionally, really listening, engaging, offering your words, that's the real gift.
It's one of the most powerful gifts you can give. It solidifies the meaning of the relationship.
Okay, so if you're listening and you feel that catch in your throat, thinking about someone, that's probably your intuition nudging you. Consider that a sign.
Let this be your sign. Have the conversation. Maybe it is time to reach out. Maybe it's time to let that old grudge go. Or maybe, just maybe, it's time to really listen before it's genuinely too late. And remember, these conversations, they don't just bring peace to the person you're talking to. They bring incredible clarity, peace, and growth to you, the one who's still living. They reshape your life too.
Every moment, really, is a chance. A chance to say what you mean, ask what matters, connect more deeply. Don't wait until time runs out. Say it. Ask it. Hear it. Because you'll probably never regret the things you did say. But you might always, always regret the things you didn't.
So maybe just take a moment today. Think about it. What unsaid words are weighing on you? Or maybe waiting to be heard by someone you care about? What's the one conversation that, if you had it, would bring you the most peace?
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope it gave you something to think about and maybe even the nudge to take action in your own life.